So what's going on guys, Kate is here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the top 3 best solo PvE builds in New World. So for each and every single build I will explain what attributes and perks you want to have, then what gems and specific gear you want to use to get out your stats as much damage as possible. Then as well I will show you the best gameplay of me using different weapons, so you would know which abilities you want to use first on the PvE mobs and much more. So if all this sounds interesting to you, then let's get right into it. So then moving over to the first build, which is the one and only bow and hatchet, and these are the attributes you want to have. So no matter from which level you start using this build, you first of all want to get your dexterity to 200 and then get 50 points in constitution and then continue putting everything else in dexterity. And around level 60 you should have 300 dexterity and 100 constitution. And lastly, for your gear you want to go with the light category, and the best setup is to have medium chest piece and then the rest light equipment. So then taking a closer look at the first weapon, which is the bow, and these are the weapon masteries you want to have. So first things first, you want to unlock this first perk and then the first ability called the rain of arrows, and then get these 2 perks. Then afterwards get the second ability called the poison shot and then get these 3 perks. Then from here let's move over to the other side and unlock the last third ability called the penetrating shot and then get these 4 perks, and that's it. Now from this point and onwards, you're for free to pick and choose which perks you want to unlock next. So then moving over to the second weapon, which is the hatchet, and these are the weapon masteries you want to have. So first of all you want to unlock this berserk ability with these 2 perks. Then afterwards unlock the second ability called the feral rush and then get these 2 perks. Then lastly unlock the last third ability with these 2 perks, and now again from this point you're for free to choose in whichever order you want to spend your points. Okay, so now let's go over to the gameplay where I'll show you the best way to play this build. And for the first weapon we have the bow, and the Q spell, aka the poison shot, gives you the ability to shoot an arrow, and when it reaches a target the arrow will explode and create a poison smoke, and enemies standing in that smoke will be taking damage every second. Then the second ability is called the penetrating shot, which deals a lot of damage and the arrow itself can go through multiple players. And lastly our third ability is called the rain of arrows, which when using shoots the circle with bunch of arrows, and each target that is standing in the circle will be taking damage and get a bleeding effect which will do even more damage over time. And then for the second weapon we have the hatchet, and when attacking an enemy it's super simple. You want to use your Q ability, aka activate berserk mode, and then keep on using your auto attacks and use the RNF abilities, which are just simple damage spells. The best thing about berserk mode is that it will give you self-healing and movement speed, so you can use it to run away or run towards an enemy. Okay, so the best way to attack mobs in PvE, which I always try to do, is pull a bunch of mobs on me, and then when they all are grouped up I use one normal shot, then the poison shot, then the rain of arrows, and then lastly the penetrating shot. And then when that is done I switch to the hatchet and activate berserk mode and keep on using auto attacks plus the RNF ability, and that's about it. Sometimes if I'm grinding easy PvE mobs I may use the bow, so I pull them the same way, but after using all the abilities I just keep on using the bow normal attacks, and I keep on running away from the mobs by dodge rolling and switching from bow to hatchet and then back to bow. And by doing this I activate my weapon perks, which give me damage and speed increase, and that's about it. So now for my last and final conclusions for this build. This bow and hatchet weapon combination right now is very good for leveling, doing expeditions or any other PvE related content. And then lastly for the bow and hatchet you want to use the opal gem, and then for all of your gear use the Enix gems. And to activate the opal gem keep on using the dodge rolls, so your character would not ever be at 100% stamina, and this will activate the gem giving you 15% increased damage. So in a quick summary, if you're looking to do high damage or just you want to use one of the best solo PvE builds, then this is the one for you, so enjoy! So then moving over to my second build, which is the musket and spear, and these are the attributes you want to have. So no matter from which level you start using this build, you first of all want to get your dexterity to 200 and then get 50 points in constitution, and then continue putting everything else in dexterity. And around level 60 you should have 300 dexterity and 100 constitution. And lastly for your gear you want to go with the light category, which means using the best setup, aka one medium chest piece and then all the other light equipment. So then moving over to the first weapon, which is the musket, and these are the weapon masteries you want to have. So first of all you want to unlock the first ability called the power shot and then get these 2 perks. Then afterwards get the second ability called the shooter stance, and then the next perk to that as well. And now let's move over to the other side and unlock this one perk, and then the last third ability called the stopping power, and then the last perk to him as well. And now from this point you can spend your points in whatever order you like. So then going over to the second weapon, which is the spear, and these are the weapon masteries you want to have. So first of all, I recommend for you to unlock this one perk, and then the first ability called the sweep, and then get these two perks. Then now let's go over to the other side and unlock these two more perks. Then afterwards get the second ability, and of course the next three perks to him as well. And lastly unlock the last third ability called the perforate, and then get these perks. And now again from this point you can unlock all the other perks in whatever way you like. Okay, so now let's go over to the gameplay, where I'll show you the best way to play this build. So for the first weapon we have the spear, and the first Q spell is called the sweep, which if you hit an enemy makes him drop down to the ground. Then the second ability is called the perforate, and when using it, it does 3 super fast spear attacks. And if you hit the target with all of them, he gets stunned for extra second or two. Then lastly we have the skewer ability, which when using makes your character rush forwards, dealing damage and applying bleed effect on the target. But then for the second weapon we have the musket, and for your Q spell we have the ability called the power shot, which when activating overloads your musket with gunpowder, causing the next shot to deal bunch of damage, and it's super good in removing someone's health to 60% just from one shot. Then the second ability is called the shooter stance, which when using your character enters the shooting stance, and all shots fired deal additional damage, and the reloading time of the musket is reduced by 70%. And then for our last third ability we have a stopping power, which again overloads your gun with gunpowder, but this time when you shoot a target he gets staggered and knocked back for 3 meters. So the way you want to attack mobs is by using the musket and pull all the targets that you want to farm. Then while they are chasing you, use the normal shots plus the power shot and the stopping power. Then when that is done, switch to the spear and use the sweep ability first, and then follow that up with the perforate and skewer, and then keep on using auto attacks on the mobs. And as well, don't forget to use the spear blocking system if ever mobs keep on doing a lot of damage to you. And if you choose to use this build, you can easily kill high level big bosses because you do a lot of single target damage with the musket, or on the other hand you can switch to the spear and do a lot of CC and AoE damage. Mostly I prefer to use the musket for pulling mobs, and then I do all the AoE damage with the spear, but this depends on your level and playstyle. So feel free to experiment with only using the musket, then only using the spear, or both, and vice versa. And now from my last and final conclusions for this build. The musket and spear weapon combination right now is very good and can be used for both PvP and PvE. Just of course, the same way like the bow build, you have to consider that to play this build, it will be a lot harder and take more time to practice aiming, especially at moving targets. And then lastly for the musket and spear, you want to use the all-pull gems. And then for all of your gear, use the Enix gems. So in a quick summary, if you're looking for a very good solo or group PvP and PvE build, then this is the one for you. So I hope you have fun. And now moving over to my last and final build, which is the easiest leveling build, and for the weapons you want to use the hatchet and live staff. And then these are the attributes you want to have. So first things first, if you start from level 0, you want to get your focus to 150 and then start building your constitution. And around level 60 you should have 300 focus and 100 constitution. And last but not the least, for your gear you want to go with the medium category. And the best gear setup is to have medium helmet, heavy chest piece, light gloves, heavy pants and light boots. And this will give you 22.9 kg weight, which is exactly just below the heavyweight category. So then moving over to the first weapon, which is the hatchet, and these are the weapon masteries you want to have. So first of all you want to unlock this berserk ability with these 2 perks. Then afterwards unlock the second ability called the feral rush, and then get these 2 perks. Then lastly unlock the last third ability with these 2 perks, and that's it. Now again from this point and onwards, you're feel free to choose in whichever order you want to spend your points. So then let's go over to the second weapon, which is the live staff, and these are the weapon masteries you want to have. So first of all you want to unlock this perk and then the first ability called the sacred ground, and then afterwards unlock all these 5 perks. Then now let's go over to the other side and unlock this one perk, and then the second ability called the beacon, and then get these 2 perks. Then lastly unlock the last third ability called the light's embrace, and then get these 2 perks as well. And now from this point you're feel free to spend your points in whatever way you like. Okay, so now let's go over to the gameplay, where I'll show you the best way to play this build. So first of all, you are a off DPS/off healer, and especially for PvE and leveling it's super powerful. So then for the life staff, your Q ability is called the Sacred Ground, which you have to point and select the area you want to place it in, and then cast it for a split second. Then the R ability is called the Light's Embrace, and it basically works the same way, just for a single target. And lastly, we have the F ability called the Beacon, which you can just aim and it places a huge circle on the ground. And if you target a player, you can attach the spell to him specifically. So instead of the circle being on the ground, it will be attached to a player, which makes the spell very useful in expeditions and group farming. So then for the second weapon, we have the hatchet, and when attacking an enemy, it's super simple. You want to use your Q ability, aka activate Berserk mode, and keep on using auto attacks and use the R and F abilities, which are just simple damage spells. And the best thing about Berserk mode is that it will give you self-healing and movement speed. So the best way to use this build in PvE is to first of all find a group of mobs and then use your life staff and auto attack each mob once to make them aggro on you. Then afterwards decide a place or a corner where all the mobs can stack up to each other, and then place the Sacred Ground or the Beacon ability, and then switch to the hatchet and activate Berserk mode, and just start attacking mobs with the auto attacks plus the R and F abilities. And if you do this right, you can easily farm thousands of experience if you heal yourself and kill mobs fast enough in one small circle. So then for my last and final conclusions for this build. This hatchet and life staff weapon combination is meant to do a bunch of damage, while at the same time having the ability to survive for very long, and you can easily pull bunch of mobs and then just AoE them in few seconds. And then last but not the least, for the life staff you want to use the diamond gem, then for your hatchet use the amber gem, and lastly for all of your gear, amulets, rings and everything else use the Enix gems. And to understand better healers and how to play them, check my healer video, and there you will learn why we are using the specific gems that make the hatchet weapon scale from strength to focus, and how they make this build work very well. So in a quick summary, if you're looking for the most OP and easiest solo PvE build, then this is the one for you, so enjoy. And that's about it. So I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback or other good PvE builds that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and you won't miss any more amazing content from me. With all this said, you have an amazing day and I'll catch you in my next video. So take it easy, peace.
Yo, I ain't here